A NerdWallet survey found in 2024 that 14% of Americans are assisting their parents financially. 41% plan on doing so. The same survey said 80% haven't even talked to their family about their estate planning yet. Their parents, that is. Have you had these conversations with your family? Probably not. How do you even start that conversation? How do you calculate this into your own planning? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to a Wiser Retirement Podcast. Are you curious about how to help your parents plan financially for the future? I'm Casey Smith. Today, I'm joined with Shauna Theriault. Each week, we bring you practical advice on retirement, investing, and planning for your financial future. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening. Let's get started. Hello, Shauna.
Hello. I feel like it's been a really long time since we did a podcast together.
They don't let us get too close to each other.
I feel like you're avoiding me.
Oh, I was going to say the same thing, but you beat me to it. Dang it.
Taking your thunder.
No. We do work on opposite ends of the building because the smartness and experience that you would exude just by walking into the room is so great that they can't. And the universe would explode.
Really?
If they had us in the same project.
Are you talking about me or you?
You.
Oh,
you.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit about me, I guess.
Yeah. It has been a minute.
You know, we both, you see, here's the problem, folks. We both love to talk. So if I'm not here, the next best person to do a podcast is going to be you, right?
Thank you. I know it's hard. Sometimes I have to sit here and go, let him talk.
Yes, you can have two dominant personalities running a great firm.
They said we would fight.
I know.
I don't think we have.
No, we haven't. Been a while.
I know.
I think that pool has been divvied out. I think people.
I didn't win any money. Did you?
I didn't win anything.
I feel like somebody profited off of us.
Someone lost. Someone won. I don't know who it was. I don't know how much it was. but no, Sean and I work great together.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's team up our minds here and talk about something that I think people are missing in their planning, quite honestly. And that is parents. And this podcast is posting here in early November, and you're about to approach the wonderful or not so wonderful holiday season. And this might be time to plant some seeds.
Or at least get the conversation started or find a way to start it just by listening or being observant. Or
walking in and just taking over the file cabinet. Or no, probably not that.
Probably not that. That would be weird, especially in the middle of like Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah. Well, that's when you do it. They're distracted by turkey.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. Demographics are changing.
Yeah.
For older people. You threw out some great research you found a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Why is it that our parents' generation don't seem as prepared as we thought they would be?
So it was interesting. I was looking at that because we talk about that squeeze generation, how it's helping, the older parents and then the growing aging kids. And so it was really good information that's when kind of in their generation when pensions stopped and you had to start funding your own retirement, contributing to 401ks. The expansion of healthcare costs increased 200% over wages increasing, inflation being higher. So, they weren't saving the same because they thought they had pensions and then they didn't. Social Security was meant to be as, a substitute, not to be a sole income. And 40% of them are living off just Social Security alone.
Yeah.
So if you take into consideration the pensions going away, the increase of inflation, healthcare costs rising so much, they're not prepared for this financial.
A lot of it was no real financial planning had been done.
Right.
And we have half of Americans don't even have written financial plans. We see you had a stat here you sent me ahead of time. 60% of parents provide financial support to adult children. So we have this, for those of us in the middle, we're supporting adult children. I'm not. My kids aren't adults yet. Well, I guess technically legally, but not out of college yet. But we have adult children potentially being taken care of by people in their 50s but then we have mom and dad that might need financial help as well. And it's the
Right.
question we ask in every single plan. And most people go, oh no, I don't know. I'm really not sure.
Because it's a hard conversation to have with them.
It is.
Some know, they just know because they can see their habits and what, they do or do not spend. But most of them don't know if they have even an estate plan or not.
I mean, and just from like a legacy planning standpoint, you think about you a lot of times your spending habits are results of how your parents spent money.
Mm-hmm.
So there are young, really big savers very often had parents who are just horrible with money.
Completely.
Right?
I see that. So we hear that all the time where they come in and are like, I want to do different than my parents did.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and then there's the flip side where the parents do really, really well. And then the next generation, not as tight, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
But
maybe they didn't.
But sometimes they're being supported through trust, and that's a whole different conversation. And
right.
That's not who we're talking to.
So
today.
it's kind of like the extremes. It's like you didn't grow up with anything, so you wanted to make sure you did, or you just already had and you didn't go without, and so you don't really know how to.
But that's the cycle, right? You didn't have much, or you had just enough, and then you spoil your kids, and those kids don't know anything about money because they just get everything they wanted. And then what does that next generation look like? And
right.
Someone's got to take this by the reins.
Right. Right. All us helicopter parents out there.
Right.
Isn't that what we're known as, the helicopter parents?
I think so. So, what are the risks here? I mean, if you can't have the conversation, well, all right, let's back up. The risk is your parents didn't plan properly.
Yeah.
If they didn't plan properly and they need assisted living, what happens? If they just need money to pay bills, what happens? And that falls back on you. So how do you start planning for that in your own planning? Because if you don't, you run the risk of derailing your retirement for taking care of the generation above you. And then a worst case scenario, taking care of the generation below you.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can't plan for it because
sometimes it just happens.
Sometimes you can't plan for it, and there's just not enough money to save for all of it.
Yeah.
Right. Because you run the risk, if you're supporting your parent or parents, that you're not going to have enough for your own retirement. And then your children are going to, that's the same cycle we're talking about.
We're trying to break.
So,
exactly. I mean, there's also, situations. Well, first of all, if a parent needs assisted living, there's government programs, there's assistance for that. But until you've walked in that situation to realize where your loved one's going to be, you may not, you may think twice about that.
Yeah. Yeah. The Medicaid planning, the Medicaid beds, the Medicaid. Nursing homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some families, I think, maybe are just disconnected, and that happens, and they think, oh, yeah, that was terrible. And they're just doing good enough to care for themselves.
Yeah.
But I would say most of the people who walk into a wealth management firm have resources to be able to change those.
Yeah.
Maybe out of respect, out of love.
Yeah.
But there's it's real money. It costs real money to care for people, especially if they're being cared for at home.
Yeah. It costs a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, and years ago, I suspect that, maybe you would help your loved ones, in your home and help them. But now that both parents are working, usually, that'd be really hard, more difficult, I would think, to bring your parents in to live with you too.
Yeah. I think it's healthy. Typically we do it here when a spouse passes away. So if we had a spouse pass away, like recently we had a wife pass away, and I told the husband, I said, okay, this is the time you bring the girls in.
Yeah.
And the girls were financially on their own, very stable.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, we need to have a family meeting now, so they understand your finances and your estate planning and where your assets are and how you can be cared for best going forward. And he was all for it.
Yeah. That's interesting. So, you could always, like, starting the conversation, get with your advisor to talk about obviously bringing their parent in, or, talking to their advisor about, hey, maybe my parents need to have the discussion too, to help with that discussion.
I think using a financial advisor is a great way to do it because it's an independent person and there's less emotion involved.
Yeah.
And how we do it here is it's just a family presentation. It's not a boring PowerPoint slide or anything, but basically you're just pulling up assets, liabilities. We've projected out how far they can live. A lot of times it's 105. They live to 105 and be just fine. Or if they went to a nursing home, they have this insurance, or they don't have insurance, but this is the plan.
Right.
And so it's just such a peace of mind. And if you're the parent, if you're the older parent, the grandparent in this case, you should go through this process with your children because it gives them peace of mind and helps them understand the overall situation.
Yeah.
Now,
especially if they have to step in and be like power of attorney.
Yes, exactly. And it wouldn't be a surprise.
Right.
Oh my gosh, mom or dad is in the hospital and now I'm in charge of all this stuff.
And I don't even know where anything is or anything.
Get ahead of it. As long as you can trust the person, we don't have spendthrift problems.
Yeah.
We don't have issues with drugs or alcohol or
yeah.
Those are different situations. Those are situations we probably have already talked about because we've mitigated that in someone's estate planning, right?
And there's sometimes I've had meetings where we bring in the adult children, with the grandparent, bring in the adult children, and maybe we don't even tell them the bottom line and all the numbers or how it works, but just that, their financial plan's good. Yeah. They can last till this long. Yep. Financially, you don't even have to show them the balance sheet necessarily, unless you're ready for them to step in and start, we can give as much or as little as you would like, but at least that way there's the discussion started.
And let's flip that on its head for a second. I've been the bad guy. I've offered to be the bad guy many times for families of resources. So for wealthy families, and they have someone in their family who wants to start the fifth business that didn't work or probably won't work. And I say, look, I understand you're asking for a $200,000 loan from your mom. However, she needs this to live on. Yeah. And if you take this out, she has less income and her plan doesn't work as well. Yeah. And they're like, oh no, I don't want to hurt her, and so you can kind of get them to back off a little bit at the direction of mom or dad. I'm not just doing that on my own.
No,
obviously.
Of
course. but they say, hey, I need you to be point here is typically what they say. But when you get ready to have that conversation, don't start with words like you guys are getting older or you guys are failing or, you guys haven't done, I know you don't have anything, but we need to talk about where everything is. Don't start with negative or they failed at something or they're bad at something kind of language. You want to keep it honestly, you want to use a financial advisor ideally to say, hey, I just went through this financial planning process. It was really good for me. I would like for you guys to go through it so that I know that you guys are taken care of. Yeah. And I'll be happy to pay for it if that's what it takes for you guys to do it. But I would like to have that peace of mind that I've planned for my future and I don't want any surprises with you guys. Yeah. That it would derail what my plan is. Yeah. And that sometimes will start. We do it the opposite way too. We have wealthy parents that say, hey, I need you to do this for my kid.
Yes. Yes. To make sure that they're financially
to make sure
sound.
that they're sound.
Or just to be a sounding board for them.
Correct.
So that way it's like we teach them a little bit more or guide them or walk beside them as they're inheriting this money or, learning to deal with money. Because a lot of times they don't listen to their parents.
Correct. And the good news is at this firm, we have a lot of multi-generational families. So we already have the parents are clients, but then the children are clients. In some cases, the client, the parent, and the grandchildren are all clients. Mm-hmm. So it's very easy to have those type of conversations. And you tell the grandparents, look, your grandparent or the grandchildren that the grandparents are in good shape and don't worry about these are some guidelines that they built their wealth with, and this is what we suggest you start doing as well. Yeah, or whatever. Yeah. So that helps us. But if you're listening, you don't even use Wiser, don't even have a financial advisor. I would start with a conversation that is positive. Typically parents always love their children. So you want to use that angle and say, hey, I've been doing some planning for myself. I want to make sure you guys are taken care of, or if there's some way that I can help you down the road, I want to be prepared for that. And could we please take a minute to kind of go over your finances? Yeah. And hopefully they're open to that. There is a generation, I think they're in their 90s now, that would never do that. That would be appalling to even ask.
Private, right.
And I'm sure there's still some of that left. But what do you do? So now you have it in. You got into the conversation. What do you do next? It really starts. This is really simple in my mind, in your mind, but it may not be to everyone who listens to this. Start with a list of assets. So the home, the value of the home, brokerage accounts, IRAs, savings accounts, CDs, the money in the Folgers coffee can in the garage that could have $300,000 in it.
Right. Exactly.
Right? So what are all the assets? Then let's talk about what do we owe? Do we owe anything on the house? Do we have any debts? Hopefully the answer is 0, but there could be something out there. Are we really bad with money and we have tons of credit cards? Actually seen that.
Yeah.
And then what's our income? Do we get a pension? How much do we get in Social Security? Are we pulling money out of retirement accounts currently? Are we not?
Yeah.
And then what are our expenses? The expenses could be a little harder to gather. Income's pretty straightforward. That's where you'd probably need access to checking and credit cards to kind of sum up everything. But you could ask the simple question is, do you feel like you have more money each month left over? Or do you feel like things are tight each month?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes in retirement, I feel like it's almost easier to look at it because it's like, you're only getting, here's what even when you're working, here's what you're netting.
Yeah.
Here's what you're getting in your checking account each month. Is the balance going up? Yep. Or is the balance going down? So it's like you can kind of see, like, what did you start with? What did you end with?
You don't have to criticize them on why did you sign up for satellite TV and it has 10,000 channels. You're paying $5 a month. You don't have to get into that conversation of like, why would you do that? That's a waste of money. Then you're judging them. And then the conversation goes south. Just say, do you feel like you have more money each month? Or do you feel like each month is a little tighter? Is there less money each month?
Yeah.
That's all you have to ask. Very open-ended and see where that goes. And then you want to ask about, do you have life insurance? Do you have long-term care insurance?
Mm-hmm.
And they typically should know that. I will tell you, as parents get older, things get forgotten. And if they have long-term care insurance, I would encourage you to get them to pay it automatically every single month.
Mm.
Because a lot of times when they get old, they forgetful and they don't make that payment. And they get one little letter in the mail that they probably throw away. It's not marked very well. And next thing you know, the policy's canceled. Because I promise you, a long-term care company, insurance company would want nothing more to have 20 years of premium payments and then cancel it in the year 21, right?
Yeah.
That would be a win for them. So just make sure that insurance stuff can it be on auto payment? And then here's probably the harder part, and it's going to sound greedy when you ask it. Do you have a will, power of attorney, and medical directive? The power of attorney and medical directive, okay, that's for when they're alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if something happens to you, I need to be able to communicate on your behalf in the hospital. That's a pretty easy conversation. The will goes, how much money am I getting? That's what any parent's going to think. If you want to see the will,
yeah.
Shauna, can I see your will? If I'm your daughter, you're probably like, oh, it's even? I'm your favorite. Why isn't it all going to me?
Right.
I kid you not, when my oldest son, Ethan, when he was little, well, no, I say little, he's like 8 or 9. But he had learned this whole Bible story at school. And he literally got in the car. He goes, when you die, I get everything, right? I was like, wait, what? He's like, I get everything, right? And I was like, so well, they told us about the story in the Bible and the oldest son got.
Oh, wow.
I was like, that's the Old Testament. New Testament, we do it differently.
That's too funny.
Quick check-in. Have you thought about the legacy you'll leave behind? Download 7 Steps to Leave a Financial Legacy, a free guide from Wiser Wealth Management to learn more. It's not just about wealth. It's about leaving a lasting impact. Go to wiserinvestor.com/guides to download your free guide today. Now let's jump back into the episode.
But yeah, so they have all these assumptions in their heads. Parents can and child, but you want to say, look, do you mind if we have that reviewed to make sure everything has been built correctly, or in fact that one exists? Maybe you're comfortable with that. Okay, there's a will.
Okay,
we need an original. Copies don't help us in probate, right?
Yeah.
So we have an original will. So that's good. Yeah. It's in a safe spot. Maybe you're okay with that, or maybe you want to have that reviewed.
Yeah.
You can ask them that question. Mom and Dad, have you reviewed it? Is it still current?
Well, it's wild to me.
Does it still have me going to Aunt Sally if you pass away because it thinks I'm a minor?
Right. Which it solves for that if you're not, obviously.
That's
but
true.
It's really interesting because you may think that they have everything in order. We have found so many people don't have any. I've had really affluent clients come in and they don't even have a will. And it blows my mind,
Right.
Or they've come into some wealth and they just haven't done it yet. But We looked this up. 60% of the baby boomers of the Americans ages 60 to 70 don't have any estate planning in place.
So 60% chance your parents don't have any estate planning.
That's
pretty high.
It is pretty high. So they may not.
Yeah. And then if you have, this is something we'll throw in, free advice on a free podcast. That's even better, right? Death tax. So everyone thinks if you pass away, you have to pay death tax. If you're living in the South, for sure, there's no death tax unless you get a net worth of $30+ million for mom and dad.
Right.
So that you hopefully have estate planning done. If you have a net worth that high, you better.
Yeah.
I have some complicated trust to help you with that. But for everyone else, you're not going to worry about death tax, but what you want to avoid is probate if you can, or if you want to go through probate, let's go through it with a will and not let the judge decide how assets get divided.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if there's no will, typically what we get, if there's 2 children, a third would go to mom, a third goes to
that's right.
Each child.
It gets split equally between.
And then if you have a bad sibling who takes the money and run, and then mom doesn't have enough support.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of complications with no will.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Anything else to add there? I think that covers it. I wanted to add a piece on risk and fraud. So elder abuse is a real thing. And this is where your job as a parent is to step in and make sure your parents are not getting taken advantage of.
I feel like I almost got taken advantage of a couple times, and I already know this. And I'm like, I feel like talking to somebody, and I was like, this sounds real to me.
We're all getting those texts.
Yes.
About, I don't know. I think nobody in Florida has probably paid their son pass bill, because I get your Sun Pass bill is past due. I'm like, this is a fraud. And it's all over the news. It's a fraud. So I'm like, poor Sun Pass in Florida. They're not getting any revenue because every time someone gets a bill, they're like, this is fraud.
They're probably getting a lot in late fees though. So they're probably making bank on that.
That's true. But yeah. So we have all these sophisticated texts and emails going out. One of our clients who lives by herself, she kept getting something that her power bill was delayed or late, and her power bill, she didn't even have that power company, but she was literally trying to pay it on her phone. In the last 12 months, over $1 billion in fraud has been committed to those type things. So don't look at it and go, oh, nobody would do this. $1 billion worth did it. I don't know how many people that is, probably more than one.
Yeah, that's a lot of people, because it's probably small transactions.
Small transactions, yeah.
Right.
And that money doesn't come back typically. So and the older parents, the biggest scams I think are going to come through these Medicare renewals. So they get ready to renew their Medicare, and they get cards in the mail. Your Medicare is going to be canceled on whatever date. Like, no one's canceling your Medicare. You're auto renew everywhere you go. You don't have to go. They want you to sign up for their plan. So you sign up for their plan, then it does cancel your old one and takes over the new one, and someone got a commission. But it's bad. A couple of clients where we have to kind of go through mail and kind of keep on top of things for them. They don't have family.
Yeah.
I see those things all the time. Your Medicare is being canceled on this date. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's really aggressive.
Yeah.
So just be careful. Maybe even tell them about scams, and that before they do anything, they should reach out. You might even want to put LifeLock on them, honestly.
Yeah.
If especially if they're older, what else are they doing that they would need credit for anything?
Right.
So sign up for LifeLock, or if you don't want to pay for that, go right to the 3 credit reporting agencies and just just freeze it so you can't have things taken out. All they need is their name, address, and a social security number, and you can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
And date of birth.
Yeah.
You can pretty much do anything. And all that information lives in public space now. There's none of that information that's private anymore.
Yeah. It's scary. Real scary.
We had one fraud, it's been a few years now, but she called me. She called me on a Friday night. I was like literally in a movie theater with my kids, and I saw it was her, and she never calls me unless she absolutely needs something that's super important. I answered the phone. She says, Casey, I just did something really bad. I said, what? She's like, she lives in assisted living. She doesn't drive. What could you get in trouble with? And she goes, a person called me up and said, I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't get your social security number on our last call. Could you give that to me really quick? And she goes, I gave it to him. And as soon as I gave it to him, I realized that I hadn't talked to anybody about my social security.
Oh,
She's like, I hadn't
wow.
talked to anybody about anything really all day business wise. And I just gave out my social security number to somebody.
Yeah.
And so literally we just signed her up for LifeLock, like right there on my cell phone,
Yeah.
and locked everything down so nothing would happen. So you want to try to get ahead of that where you can on the risk and fraud management for parents. But I don't know. I mean, what else can we do as children to help parents?
I mean, it's really starting the conversation and help them do planning, just help protect them, make sure they're okay financially. There's not a ton you can do if they're not open to it, obviously. But if you're starting to see memory issues, maybe step in and start taking over and being the financial power of attorney. And a lot of times the advisors will reach out to somebody too.
Mm-hmm.
Many times I have, clients come in and they'll ask, when should I bring my children into the fold? The adult children. I'm like, whenever you feel comfortable if something were to happen, we try to start those conversations for you.
Right.
Because even if there's nothing going on, at some point, if we see maybe health's declining or, something like that, then we will bring it up.
Yep.
Bringing
Absolutely.
in, and we know who the powers of attorney are.
There's
We'll
always a
make
trusted contact
suggestion.
if there's just one spouse left. So, or any
Absolutely.
single person always has a
Absolutely.
trusted contact. And so that helps with those conversations. I
feel like the clients that work with advisors, they are open to all of that unless there's obviously a family situation. I think what I see most is clients coming in and saying, how do I start this with discussion with because I don't really know if they have a plan and I don't know if they'll even talk to me about it.
Right.
So, that's where just starting to, your parents best, so if whether it's getting a loan or getting all the kids together and talking, having coffee with them, just sitting down and talking about your concerns, and you just want to make sure they're okay. And then, like you said, helping to run projections and plans and seeing what does it look like. And if there is a shortfall of sorts, then, maybe decide what does that look like? Does that mean we sell a house eventually for their care? Because a lot of people don't take that into consideration.
No, they don't.
Happens many times like, okay, well, the assets are getting low. What if they need to go somewhere? Well, if they do go somewhere, then their home could be sold and use that for, care. And really statistically, let's talk about, I think this is important because we're all worried about healthcare costs and we should be, but statistically, most of the time, by the time you have a healthcare event, you only need care for less than a year.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, you don't make it statistically beyond a year. If you do make it beyond a year, the average is 2.5 years. So, where you get into longer stays, the 5 to 8 years where you have memory care or, things like that, Alzheimer's, right. So I'm not saying you shouldn't plan for it, but just know that statistically, most of the time it's less than a year, most of the time.
I think there's ways that you can reduce your own stress. One of those is if you're able to have the conversations and you realize that they do need help, instead of having to log in every single month and try to figure out how to pay their bills for them, set auto pay up.
Yeah.
You start auto drafts and then you get copies of the bank statement every month and you kind of look at and see, okay, all these drafts make sense to me.
Yeah.
It could be that you have to cut other people out, meaning maybe money's going to third parties or to other family members that shouldn't be. We can't take a bad situation and make it worse. Like we need to focus on parents, keeping parents taken care of before we start sending parent money that they don't have really to other people, other kids.
And that's hard conversations to have.
And those are hard conversations.
Yeah.
But I think when you sit down and you talk with people and say, this is a situation, at least me as an advisor, when I've had to have those hard conversations with family members, everyone's been like, oh yeah, okay, well that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we all know the truth.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just need to see it on paper or we need to have a conversation with a third party about it.
Well, and don't forget, if you are acting as a power of attorney because you step in as you're a fiduciary. So you have to do what's in the best interest of the client, your parent or whomever you're serving. So whoever you're acting on behalf of. And so if you do see things going on, I would say, obviously it depends how the conversations are going, but if you're controlling it because they can't, you have to make what's in the best decision for the person you're serving.
Yeah.
So in capacity. So, you are a fiduciary in that. So you have to do what's in their best interest, even if it's not in other people's best interest.
And I think the best way to start is getting your own planning done. If you have your own planning in place, then I say this a lot from like an investment standpoint, but it applies in planning. You want to help people from a position of strength. You need to get your own house in order,
right?
So that you can make sure that you can help other houses.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a bunch of weak houses, or else you're going to have some problems if there's a hiccup,
right.
Whether it be your job, the economy, or whatever.
Right.
And it could be if things are expensive and you're really caring, you're doing it out of love. I think one of the privileges of success is being able to help parents.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, they helped raise you. They helped define who you are. And maybe you got lucky. Maybe it's your work ethic. I don't believe in luck really, but maybe it's your work ethic that you got from them. But being able to then turn back around and say, look, I can support you in this so you can live a better quality of life. That's the ultimate reward. No one really calls that a flex. You think about social media is like the ultimate flex is when you have your own G5, or your ultimate flex is when, whatever. I think a quiet flex is I care for my parents.
Yeah.
Honestly. And some people do it through time.
Yeah.
Because they have time to go care for mom and dad, and that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many clients who have done that. Their parents are on Social Security. That's all they have, but they lived with them and they just cared for them.
Yeah.
That's that has many rewards.
Yeah.
But I think being able to care for the people that cared for you and shaped you as a person is a privilege, because that means you've probably been successful yourself, or at least you're willing to sacrifice for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't see it as a burden. But that being said, you don't want to derail your own plan.
Right.
So very often what I tell clients is, hey, don't go paying for the nursing home. Don't go paying for these things. There are programs out there for that. There's other ways that you can help them financially. But if they want to stay home and you want to pay for a caregiver, that's going to be on you. There's not a whole lot of, after you've exhausted all were they in the military, right? Do you have state care, hospice? There's many different levels of hospice.
Yeah.
So doesn't mean you're dying, but they'll come in and check in and do bathing. And there's all kinds of programs out there that you can get involved in, but don't look at it as a burden, and know that there's people out there that are doing it just like you. 14% of Americans evidently are already supporting, but there's a lot of people coming behind you. 41% think that they're definitely going to have to be helping parents financially.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And then hopefully you're in a situation that that your parents prepared well and you prepared well, and you don't have to worry about that. And maybe it's more time.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just making sure that they're being cared for properly. All right. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But if you can be in the best assisted living ever, but that all comes down to the people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So check on those parents, go at different times, make sure they're getting the service and the care that they need.
Yeah.
A good assisted living is going to be about $5,500 a month. The okay ones are about $3,500 a month.
Yeah.
Right. So think about that. I don't know. I think that was a little therapeutic for me walking through all that.
Yeah.
Anyway, go out there, have a great holiday season. Just have this in the back of your mind, and let's think about how we can care for those who cared for us, and then set up our next generation where you don't have to be cared for financially.
Right. Lead by example.
Lead by example for the next generation. You don't have to be cared for financially.
Start those conversations early about money, so they don't have to come to you worried about how to start those conversations.
Yep. Let's build generational wealth. Let's have the conversations be how many charities can we help this year with our foundation versus how do we get mom and dad utility bills paid for?
Right.
Two very different situations, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're interested in learning more about Wiser Wealth Management, I want to schedule a consultation to meet with one of our fiduciary financial advisors, Shauna. You can do so by going to wiserinvestor.com or by clicking the episode notes. Thanks again. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to a Wiser Retirement podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening. That way you don't miss any new episodes. We'd also appreciate if you could leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about anything that was discussed today, head to wiserinvestor.com and reach out. This podcast is strictly for informational purposes only and is not to be considered as investment advice or solicitation to buy or sell any financial products, securities, digital assets, or any other investment vehicles, or a basis to make any financial decisions. Wiser Wealth Management Incorporated is a registered investor advisor with the SEC. The host and/or guests may personally own securities, digital assets, or other investment vehicles mentioned on this podcast. Neither the host nor guests of the show are compensated for their participation, and no referral fees are paid to or received by any host or guest for clients, listeners, or similar interests. Investments involve risk, and unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, insurance professional, and/or legal professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.